Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chris. It's another amazing episode of Financipation. This channel is all about making money. It's all about saving money. It's all about building generational wealth. And it's all about financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. On this channel, everybody, I give you a six-figure MBA level worth of investing in financial knowledge for free here on YouTube. And the things that people typically spend hundreds of thousands of dollars learning in grad school, I give it to you for free here on Financipation. Also, please hit that notification button so you know when I drop new content. And please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. This is a finance channel. It is not a political channel, but I have had quite a lot of you ask me, what should they do with their money? Because the stock market right now is essentially in total free fall at the time I'm recording this in early 2025. And with these rumors of trade wars and tariffs and everything, people are asking me, Chris, what should I do? So let's get started. So firstly, if you watch the mainstream media, stuff like Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, and things like that, they are literally in a frenzy. You have these talking heads essentially giving you all this advice about what should they be doing. And I keep getting the exact same question. Chris, the stock market is crashing. Should I sell my stock now or should I sell my stock later? There are three main triggers that typically go behind every stock market crash over the last 100 years. And based on my research right now, there are essentially three main triggers as well that are currently behind this upcoming crash that most likely is going to occur before the end of 2025. This particular upcoming crash can all be tracked and attributed directly back to one individual, and his name is Donald Trump. So let's get started. So the first trigger that is negatively affecting the stock market is Trump's tariffs and his trade. So once again, everybody, this is not a political channel. This is a finance channel. And I am literally completely apolitical when I talk about my points on Financipation, because I'm here to teach you essentially how to make money, how to invest money, how to save money, how to build generational wealth. I don't take sides when I'm talking Financipation. I'm a long-term investor, everybody, that essentially teaches my subscribers and my listeners how to retire early, once again, how to make money, how to save money, how to invest money, how to build generational wealth. And I plan on teaching you exactly how to benefit from all the financial calamities that I've already started and that are most certain to be here before the end of 2025. So the first trigger that would negatively affect the stock market, everybody, once again, is Trump's tariffs and his trade wars. So Donald Trump, if you take a look at his books from the 1990s, like The Art of the Deal and things like that, he has always tried to portray himself as this amazing businessman and a once-in-a-lifetime kind of entrepreneur who everyone should follow. He likes to pitch himself essentially, everybody, as a billionaire that's fighting for the working everyday man. When in reality, Donald Trump's trade wars are generally causing a lot more harm than they are good to the stock market. And they are literally increasing, at the time of this recording in early 2025, the cost of everything from gas to automobiles to groceries to energy and utility bills and to housing. There is no competitive advantage, everybody, to building things in America. And this is what I mean by that. In America, you have to pay somebody essentially $15 an hour to work in a factory, and you have to pay them essentially medical benefits. Whereas if you look at your factory in Asia, Malaysia, Europe, or China, depending on where it's actually located, you only have to pay somebody $5 a day and no medical benefits. So once again, there is no competitive advantage to locating your factories here in America. And would you as a US consumer rather pay $15 for a pair of blue jeans that are at Walmart that were made in Malaysia, or would you rather pay $75 for that exact same pair of blue jeans made in America? I'll let you decide. Secondly, study after study shows that when you slap a tariff onto a country such as China, Europe, or India, all those countries do is they just simply slap that tariff directly back onto the American consumer, and we as the American consumer end up fitting the bill. Third, America has already tried placing massive tariffs on foreign countries, and it ended horribly for the U.S. consumer. In 1930, America passed the Hoots-Smalley Tariff Act to prevent Chinese and European countries from essentially flooding the U.S. with cheaply made foreign goods. The idea was that if you would force these cheaper countries out of our country, it would force American manufacturers to produce more products in the United States and would keep foreign products out. In reality, however, these countries, they fought back. China, Asia, and Europe, they essentially slapped retaliatory tariffs back into the United States of America, and Americans were forced to pay significantly more money for the exact same products that these foreign countries essentially were selling to us. And what ended up happening was these foreign countries that had factories in the United States, they ended up closing those factories. So unemployment during the 1930s and during the Great Depression also shot up for that reason. In other words, everybody, the last time America attempted a trade war was in the 1930s. So they slapped lots of tariffs on other countries. And the only thing that happened was it literally wiped out millions of jobs in the United States of America. It wrecked the U.S. economy for over a decade. It caused skyrocketing unemployment and skyrocketing inflation, and it worsened the Great Depression. Despite the cataclysmic predictions of over 60 leading economists in 2024, and the historical things that we can look at in regards to the 1930s and the Hoops-Smalley Tariff Act, and the dire warnings from Walmart, Lowe's, and Home Depot CEOs about what trade wars and tariffs would do, and essentially in that they would end up raising the prices of all their goods in places like Walmart, Home Depot, and Lowe's, Donald Trump has decided to move forward with his tariffs and his trade wars. And starting as soon as April 1st in 2025, he's going to slap a 25% tariff on Canadian steel. And they in turn are going to throw a 25% tariff back on us, which means our cars are about to become 25% more expensive. Right now, everybody, the stock market is plummeting in early 2025. Our 401ks are plummeting. Inflation and unemployment are rising. And the cost of eggs, housing, and our utility bills are literally at record highs. So just like during the 1930s, where the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act took a regular recession and essentially made it a full-blown depression, nearly a century later, Trump's tariffs and trade wars at the moment are currently doing the exact same thing to the U.S. economy in 2025. So as I stated earlier, Canada recently responded with Donald Trump's 25% tariffs on our steel, and they slapped a 25% tariff on American goods and roughly $25 billion with a B on the U.S. imports. Ontario also hit the United States with a 25% surcharge on electricity. So Trump, at the time of this recording, then hit Canada with a 25% tariff on Canadian steel. And as I stated earlier, this particular tariff has negatively affected Canada's economy extremely hard. And as a result, Canada is slapping that 25% tariff directly back to the United States of America in the form of 25% uptick on all the things that they sell to us. So an example of this, imagine you plan on buying a car that costs $30,000, okay? Well, if you had better buy this car today, because as of April 1st, when Donald Trump's tariffs hit, that $30,000 vehicle is going to become $38,000. Why? Because Canada is going to jack the price up 25%. Also, if you plan on buying a $50,000 car, my advice is you'd better buy it now. Why? Because when Donald Trump's tariffs hit, that $50,000 vehicle, everybody, is going to jump up to roughly $62,500. So in theory, everybody, if we back up, tariffs are supposed to drive out cheap foreign manufacturing. They're supposed to increase domestic manufacturing here in the United States. But in reality, this does not happen, because what happens is, once again, foreign countries and foreign companies, they fight back and they hit American businesses with retaliatory tariffs that force us as the American consumers to pay more in food, gas, housing, and energy. Because once again, foreign countries are not just going to take this stuff lying down, they fight back as well. So while Trump is waging his trade war against Mexico, South America, and Canada, secondly, while Trump is waging his trade war against Mexico, other countries like China and Russia are quickly positioning themselves to take America's place on the world stage when it comes to trade. China has literally already started cutting trade deals with Brazil, with Russia, with India, and Canada as we speak. And they are currently working on trade deals with Mexico and countries in Africa and Europe to literally reduce the rest of the world's dependence on American trade. Trump's trade wars with Europe, Canada, and Mexico, everybody, are literally creating a power vacuum that is isolating America on the world stage. And this is pushing other countries to look elsewhere for trade partners. With history as my guide, everybody, as an experienced and a long-term investor, my professional opinion is that Trump's trade wars will cause higher prices for everything, continue tanking the stock market, which has already literally lost thousands of points, and it will cause a recession or a full-blown depression and significantly weaken Americans on the world stage. So the first trigger that is negatively affecting the stock market are Trump's tariffs and his trade wars with Canada, with Mexico, with China, and with Europe. The second trigger that is negatively affecting the stock market is Trump's hostile stance on NATO. So Trump has openly questioned the need for NATO in the 21st century, and this stance could have drastic effects on your 401k and your retirement accounts over the long haul. If you're unfamiliar with NATO, NATO is essentially a military alliance that protects Western countries. And Trump believes that the United States should not be providing any more coverage or any more protection to these U.S. allies unless these countries pay us essentially a lot more money for their own protection. Now, while I will admit this does sound good on paper, just about every military leader believes that this will create a power vacuum, which will allow other countries like Russia, China, and India to step in potentially. And this also creates uncertainty in the stock markets, and the markets hate uncertainty. And this is why the U.S. economy right now in early 2025 is headed toward a recession and is tanking. And it looks like, once again, we are headed into a 2008 style recession. It should also be noted that by weakening NATO, many fear this will potentially embolden Russia to continue to invade other countries after Ukraine, such as Poland, and it could lead to potentially another world war as countries try to adjust to a world that has weakened military ties where the United States is no longer the muscle behind NATO. So everybody, in essence, more wars and more conflicts mean more military spending, more unpredictable markets, and spikes in energy prices. And all of these things, everybody, add up to your 401k, your retirement accounts, and possibly your safety dwindling. So before I go any further, please hit the notification button so you know when I drop new content. Please like, please comment, please share, please subscribe. It helps the algorithm, and I thoroughly enjoy giving you guys free content. The third trigger that is negatively affecting the stock market, everybody, is a concept that planning a depression is great for business. So stay with me on this one, everybody. Have you ever thought about the fact that stocks are literally the only thing that people hate buying when they are on sale? So if you saw a Louis Vuitton store that said 50% off, or a Gucci store that said 50% off, or a Jordan store that said 50% off, you would literally run into that store as fast as possible and buy almost everything that you could. But for some strange reason, when a recession hits and Google, Microsoft, Tesla, or Amazon stock drops 50%, instead of buying more stocks when these expensive stocks are at 50% of their cost and they're cheaper, people act like the world is ending and they don't buy these stocks during a recession. It makes literally no sense. So despite the financial and the economic turmoil the recessions release on the working poor, recessions, everybody, are literally a perfect time to make millions of dollars on foreclosed real estate, land, buying cheap properties, and buying expensive stocks that have literally plummeted in their value. So some have even floated the idea that Donald Trump may be purposely destroying the great economy that he inherited to cause a recession, because if he does that, it allows billionaires like himself to buy unfathomable amounts of wealth in regards to cheaper real estate, cheaper land, and cheaper stocks. Whether that is true or not, that remains to be seen. But what I do know is this, everybody, regardless who is sitting in that White House, you need to make sure that your house is protected. And by doing that, you need to do the following things. Here are 3 things that every American should be doing to prepare for the upcoming crash. Step 1. Establish a 6-month emergency fund during Trump's upcoming market crash. Firstly, everybody, every crash of the United States market is followed by a recovery. The folks who panic and sell everything, they lose millions. Whereas those of us who stay calm and who invest strategically, we historically come out on top. So instead of freaking out, this is the perfect time, everybody, to prepare and to set yourself up for generational wealth once the market recovers and comes back. So before you start investing, however, you need a rock solid foundation, and the emergency fund is your rock solid foundation, especially if it's 6 months or more. So if we're truly approaching a 2008 style Great Recession, and based on a lot of economists, we are, I want you to make sure that you have a significant wealth reserves in store, everyone. That way you are prepared if you get laid off, if you get fired, or if one of those once in a generation business opportunities that comes around that only people that have liquid cash can take advantage of. So step 1 is to establish a 6-month emergency fund during Donald Trump's upcoming crash. Step 2, everybody, is to invest heavily into the stock market during Trump's upcoming market crash. Once again, everyone, during recessions and depressions, stocks are essentially on sale. And during the 2008 crisis, people that invested into the stock market, when the market was at the bottom, they saw their investments nearly triple 3 or 4 years later. Whereas the poor souls that panicked and sold all of their stock during the same time period, everybody, they locked in their losses and they lost millions of dollars when the market rebounded 3 or 4 years later. So once again, no one can predict the bottom of the market, but if you invest consistently into the stock market, when the markets are low, you'll be maximizing the chances of financially emancipating yourself from poverty and building generational wealth. So step 2, everybody, is to invest heavily into the stock market during Trump's upcoming market crash. Next, step 3, stay disciplined and always think long-term during Trump's upcoming market crash. So there are 3 types of financial crashes, everyone. 1, corrections. Corrections are where you have a 10 to 20% drop. These happen quite frequently. 2, bear markets, where you have a 20 to 40% drop. These occur every couple of years and they typically last about 9 to 10 months. And 3rd, recessions/depressions, where you have a 45+% drop. And these are quite rare, but historically, when they happen, particularly in the United States, they're followed by a huge economic recovery. So once again, don't panic. When stocks drop, a lot of people get scared and they unfortunately sell their stock at a tremendous loss. But when stocks rise, people typically tend to be greedy and they buy the same stock at hyperinflated prices. This is why most short-term investors and uneducated investors lose a lot of money during recessions, and they sadly tell their friends and their family members to not invest into the stock market because they don't understand how it works and they panic sell. So once again, do not panic sell. Do not lock in your losses, everybody, by selling your investments, and instead stick to buying stocks when they are cheap during the recession and hold on to them. Be a long-term investor, everybody, that uses dollar cost averaging, essentially, where you invest a certain percentage of your income into the stock market, whether it's a bull market or a bear market, whether the stock market is up or whether it's down. If you do that for decades, that is a systemic way to build wealth. So stay disciplined, everybody, and think long-term during Trump's upcoming market crash. Okay? So step 3 is to stay disciplined and always think long-term during Trump's upcoming market crash. Okay? Lastly, step 4 is to diversify your investments during Trump's upcoming market crash. So if you follow my channel, everybody, you know that I say that people that invest their money into only 1 or 2 stocks are literally a financial disaster waiting to happen. The key to making money in the stock market is to invest into extremely diverse indexes that have very low expense ratios that are passively managed that match the market. And lastly, everyone, if you take anything from this podcast, take this. Market crashes and depressions are not the end of the world. If you do the things that I talk about in this podcast, you understand how to navigate market crashes and depressions and recessions, which is what we're most likely going to be having before the end of this term is out. You won't be the one panicking or losing millions of dollars. You will, however, be the one making millions of dollars, okay? So stay disciplined and diversify your investments and during Trump's upcoming market crash. Additionally, also, everybody, I want you to check out this podcast right here in regards to Trump's upcoming tariffs and how to navigate them, how to make millions of dollars, okay? So everybody, this channel is all about making money. It's all about saving money. It's all about building generational wealth. And it's all about financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. Also, please follow and check me out at my website, www.therealfinancipation.com. Check me on Instagram, _Financipation. Check me on Spotify, Financipation. Check me out on TikTok, Financipation. Check out my Facebook page, Financipation. Check out my financial blog, Financipation. Please like, please comment, please share, please subscribe. It helps the algorithm. And I thoroughly enjoy giving you guys free content. It's your boy, Chris. I'm out. Peace.